نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. The books which you mentioned, for example, Fadail A'mal, written by Hazrat Maulana Zakaria Kandhlawi Rahmatullahi alayh, who is one of the greatest hadith scholars in the last century, has taught hadith for more than 50 years and has been buried in Jannatul Baqiyah in Medina. He has written commentaries on Muwatta Imam Malik, Abu Dawood Sharif, Shamail of Imam Tirmidhi, Bukhari and Muslims, notes and commentaries as well. So he's been par excellence with his knowledge of hadith. And Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi Sahib Rahmatullah alayhi, he is an encyclopedia of knowledge in so many different subjects that he has written at a master level, including fiqh and tafsir, spirituality. They have compiled those books for common people in order to benefit from the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The books generally are for the fadail, for the virtuous deed, to encourage people to do good actions and try to be more eager to carry out certain actions that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have done, and Ummah has always practiced for the last 1400 years or so. Now, one may argue that these books have certain weak narrations, but there is a lack of understanding from common people and actually some scholars as well, whereby they equate weak hadith to fabricated hadith, and that is completely wrong understanding. A weak hadith has several different levels. There are certain weak hadiths which are very weak and as such close to fabricated hadith, and they are not to be taken at all, and scholars tend to not take them. But if you look at the collections, barring 3 or 4 major collection of hadith, you might not find any hadith collection that is free from weak narrations. Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim perhaps are the only two. Even there, few narrations are considered weak, but generally they are considered to be Sahih collection. Rest of the books tend to have some, and certain books have more than the others, weak narration, including Sahih Sitta. Imam Tirmidhi's Sunan and Ibn Majah's Sunan, they have certain weak and very weak narrations as well, actually. Likewise, Imam Bayhaqi's collection and many others. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who is the teacher of Imam Bukhari, rahmatullah, he has his Musnad, where there are many weak narrations. Imam Bukhari, rahmatullah, himself has a separate collection, which is called Al-Adab al-Mufrad, book on manners, and he has the history book written about the hadith masters and people of ilm of the past, and there are certain very weak narrations there as well. So Ummah generally has taken this to mean that a weak narration is according to the criteria made by people. They are not written in stone, and they have this weakness, and that is why they are generally not taken to make any aqidah or something haram or halal, something fard or wajib. Rather, they are there for the encouragement of doing certain good deeds and refraining from certain bad deeds. So the book, for example, Fadail A'mal, it has so many different narrations. So the chapters are divided according to the different topics, and the Sheikh would normally bring about Quranic ayat in the beginning to authenticate it, and then there will be Sahih Hadith, few of them, and then supplemented with some weak narrations as well. So generally, he would not bring a weak narration isalatan, means as original hadith, rather as a supportive or corroborative evidence. Likewise, there is wisdom behind that, which is, as agreed by the Ummah, that the weak narrations can be taken for fadail of a'mal, the encouragement, the virtues, the good deeds, the discouragement from committing bad deeds. People have different ideas with regards to action. Some would find it easy to follow a recommended action given to them by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam without even looking at the reward. For example, the Sahaba would have a lot of zeal to act on whatever is related to them from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly or even indirectly through some other senior Sahaba. For example, Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned about him that he is a very nice man. If only he performed tahajjud. If only he was punctual with his tahajjud prayer. And tahajjud is not fard. It is sunnah. And Sayyidah Hafsa radiallahu ta'ala anha, perhaps she narrated it to her brother Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anha, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was saying this. And from that day onwards, he never in his life missed his tahajjud. You would find Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised him to do tasbihat before going to bed. Subhanallah 33 times, Alhamdulillah 33 times, Allahu Akbar 34 times. And he would never stop that in his life. He's done it even when they asked on the night of the battle, Siffin and Jamal. Yes, even on those nights, I didn't miss them. Such was his practice. So these were the Sahaba who, when they found out that this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have expected me to do, or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have liked me to do, I would just do it. I mean, there are certain other people who would not act upon those actions, those meritorious, virtuous actions, unless they find it attached with so many blessings, so many rewards, so many different benefits, worldly benefits, some benefits of the life hereafter, some barakah in their life. If I could get rid of my this problem, then I would do this. And this is the nature of people. And they tend to get benefit from such narrations. And when we say weak narration, it means that there is a potential for this to be not the statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but there's also a possibility that it may be. But according to the criteria set, it doesn't fit. For example, a weak narration would be weak or deemed weak if the narrator lost his memory at a later stage. He got dementia, he can't remember, and we cannot figure out from hindsight whether the narration was related from him by his student before he had his memory lapse or it was after that. If it was before, then hadith is sahih. If it was afterwards, then there is a potential risk that it might not be right. He might not have remembered it correctly. So based on that, the hadith would be weak. But is it really? So we don't know. It could be and might not be. That is why a weak narration is not never disposed of by the imams of the past. So people would keep it within their collection because there is more potential. That is why Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah would mention, I would rather act on a weak hadith than my own opinion. Because there's a potential that it was said by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, the narrator has some problems, so based on that we are rejecting that and not taking any deep ruling or aqidah from that narration. So one should be very clear and careful about judging things like that. This is all modern innovative concept. Ummah generally has not taken a weak narration and put it aside. It is included among the hadith which should be acted upon. Sahih, Hasan and weak narration, they come together. Daif jiddan, very weak and fabricated hadith, they go in the mawdu'at and rejected hadith, the matruk hadith. Not the weak narration which is only mildly weak. So be very clear. So these hadith books are really a very, very good source of knowledge for common people, and one should make it a point of doing it, learning from them, practicing it, and you would find that inshallah ta'ala your life would be transformed for better. Many people, when they hear something of encouragement, of discouragement, they tend to then act or refrain from such actions. And that is the beauty of these narrations. And Maulana Zakaria rahmatullah alayhi and Maulana Thanvi Sahib rahmatullah alayhi, they were so pious and spiritually sound people that they dedicated their life for the deen. They would not take anything in return in monetary form. That with that piety and with their sincerity, there's a lot of barakah, and that is why you would see many people getting transformed through those books. Perhaps the most widely read books, other than Quran, and so you would find people are benefiting from it, and we are unhappy. Why are we unhappy about something which is that beneficial to Ummah? It is not causing people to commit anything wrong. It does not affect your aqidah to the least. People are, mashallah, being more practicing with that. Somehow, the people in the modern world have got the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of a master slave relation, devoid of any love, any reverence, any connection, which is emotionally based. They're very, very to the point, very dry relationship. And that is not how it should be. We should have a lot of care, compassion, feeling for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the messenger's life, for his teachings, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands and his prohibitions, for Sahaba and their lifestyle. We should feel like being with them. We should feel like copying them. Here we want to just take, just take the essence out of it and run away. I would just do whatever I'm supposed to do. This is very much like people of book. They would take the rule, and according to whatever they understand, they would just act upon that. No emotions attached, no connection there, no feeling. So you become more like a robotic slaves working on the command. That's not how it is. The religion has never been like that. We should have khashya, which is a reverent fear, hub, muhabba for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the love, the, the feel, the emotions, and that can only come from those narrations which have much more to add to our and appeal to our emotions. So don't be too dry, and inshallah ta'ala benefit from those books. Let people who do not want to benefit and can go to the other texts here and there, inshallah ta'ala, that's their choice. But this is, as I said, has never been the situation of Ummah. And I would tell you that none of those hadith that Manana Zakaya rahmatullah alayhi, Manana Thanvi rahmatullah alayhi brought in their respective books are the only books where they have brought it. They are all documented in other books, other collections, other imams, the giants, in their books. They've taken it from them. So one should be very much appreciative of the fact that we have got, alhamdulillah, a living sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our deen is not to the point, you know, just prescriptive and dogmatic. It has a lot more emotions, love, care, respect, honor, aqidah, muhabba, care, and all of that. And you can take that from those books, inshallah ta'ala. And as I said, these are brought as a corroborative evidence for those people who might benefit from that. And common men generally benefit from that. If one doesn't need it, just go for the most authentic hadith which are presented at the beginning, and Quranic ayat that should suffice for most people, inshallah ta'ala, then it's okay. So may Allah give us tawfiq to understand the wisdom and value behind those really very, very beneficial books.